consideration as a result of what we spoke about at Mokopuni. So just a clarifying questions. Can you tell me again which items are currently on this proposal that addresses the concerns brought up? Because when we talked about creating alternatives using the HASDA, there were two items that came up. There was interest rate reduction and using the money to reduce the mortgage loan amount with down payment assistance. So which of these items are intended to address that?
So it's AHP 3, homeowner financing. And so how we use NAHASDA currently is that for families that are 80% and below, NAHASDA finances the home. So if it's a construction, if it's with Habitat, it's a 0% interest loan. If it's an outside contractor, then it's a 1% loan. There's no fees, as long as it's up to appraised value. That's how we're currently utilizing NAHASDA. We received guidance from HUD that if we use NAHASDA for down payment assistance, and at the time it was mostly vacant lot construction, it would trigger Davis-Bacon, which would then increase the cost of the build, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of using NAHASDA as down payment assistance. Now we're moving towards turnkey developments like Ku'uhona. And you raised that issue that given the dynamic is changing, can we make adjustments? And so in that homeowner financing, what I did stipulate is for families between over 80, less than 100%, we can either do down payment and or interest rate buy down up to a certain amount. My intention is to bring an item to the commission next month to talk about those issues, but I need it in the housing plan in order to implement going forward. So that's why I'm hopeful that this commission will, at minimum, support that item, because I think it does give us some flexibility that we haven't done previously. So thank you for asking about it.
Yeah, thank you. Because, how I arrived at that, I was sitting with a lender a week and a half ago, running the numbers, the $100,000 as a proposed scenario. The monthly reduction was significant. I think around $600 on a $500,000 loan. I mean, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but just trying to pull it off the top of my head. But what I also learned was for far less, roughly $30,000, you pay down the interest rate and you come up with almost the same outcome. The reduction is not quite as big as a $100,000 down payment, but it's relatively close. And the advantage to that is you can make your dollars go much further to help beneficiaries, and that does address the 80% and below AMI. And what it does is it gets beneficiaries at least like soon, much sooner than going with rent with option to purchase. So thank you for that consideration. And then Blossom, what your amendment, your request for us to consider an amendment, that's on item 11, just to reiterate, property acquisition. Okay, thank you.
So if I could, Mr. Chair, clarify a little bit. So when we talk about interest rate reduction, what we are talking about is not just lowering the monthly payment, but you have the opportunity to increase their buying power, right? And so for those that won't qualify for that house loan because they're income constricted, having the opportunity not just to do the down payment and the closing costs, but that interest rate reduction is key to preserving or increasing their buying power for the same amount of monthly payment. So it's not just about saving money, it's about giving them a better chance to achieve homeownership with that. And it's a trick that the lenders have been using for years to be able to help people get into the homes that they need to at a rate that they can afford. So interest rate reduction is a key tool to help our families that are below the 80% AMI achieve homeownership.
Yeah, a good point. Also, one of our developers are applying for a grant to do just what we are talking about here today for Pu'uhona. So yeah, so I just totally support exploring these alternatives. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking that, property acquisition versus immediate benefit to the beneficiaries in the homeownership process, it just makes sense. With all of the issues and challenges that our people have faced over the years in acquiring a homestead lease, $25 million can go to serve 250 beneficiaries right off the top, right? And so I'm asking for the commission to take that into consideration versus, long-term investment or immediate payoff for the beneficiaries.
So Blossom, you're talking about reducing the wait list. So what kind of numbers are you looking at with that 25?
Well, at $100,000 subsidy grant, that's 250 people off the wait list. And like I said, you have projects that are in the works right now. You have Naiva, you have Ho'olehua, you've got Hanapepe, you have Anahola, you've got Panaeva, you have Honomo, right? And then you have Pu'uhana on Maui with projects that are coming in the future. But just those projects alone, if we could go in and do a financial assessment to determine who qualifies for Nahasta, we can do the work, but if the funds are not available when they're available, they're not going to be able to receive it. And so what I'm saying is that rather than invest money into property when we already have 200,000 acres of land in our inventory, how about we utilize it to actually serve the beneficiaries in a more direct fashion?
So Blossom, because you've been in the finance world, you know this stuff better than I do. But when we talk about, you're talking about 310 families as a result, a hypothetical, as a result of having $31 million, $100,000 for down payment can serve 310 families. But when we take it to another model, using 30,000 to pay down interest rates, we triple the amount of beneficiaries we can touch, right? So, I mean, when you triple 310, that's significant.
Yeah.
So, no, I agree. So, the Kuhio legacy is about returning people to Aina. The 2020 survey is what they are asking us to do. And therefore, I do share your concerns. So, thank you.
Just have a question. Thanks so much for your help, Lehu. I know it's a thankless job. The Nahasda funding, can you give us an idea? Is it perishable? Do we have a time limit to expend? What's our history? Just very, very, very broad. What's our history of acquiring that, and what is the look forward for Nahasda?
So since Nahasda was enacted, as Blossom explained in Title VIII in 2000, DHHL was receiving annually anywhere from about 9 million to 12 million. And then there was a large unexpended balance. And so the annual amount went down to 2 million. 1 year it actually zeroed out. Since then, I'm really grateful to our Hawaii congressional delegation for advocating so strongly for DHHL and Nahasda, and so now we're at the highest level we've ever received funds. We're at the level of 22.3 million. What that means for us, though, is spending those monies. We, generally speaking, have about 10 years to spend it, but we don't want to take 10 years because there's a constant look at what is the amount of balance that Nahasda has. And so we're at about $50 million. This budget does allow for $50 million. We're expecting another 22.3 million, again, thanks to our congressional delegation who fought for DHHL. We expect that to come once this a plan has to be approved by HUD in order for us, even though Congress included it in the appropriation, it's the actual plan that gets submitted to HUD that when HUD approves it, that's when the allocation for the next grant comes in. So again, that's going to be another 22.3 million. So it'll take our balance up to 70 million. So it is really incumbent upon us to spend the money. I completely understand where Blossom is coming from. I do think the upside of acquisition is the units are already built. People can start occupying and living in those units as soon as it comes into our inventory. If we have to build the units, which we have a number, and Blossom pointed out a number of units that still need to be built, that's the additional time it'll take to build those units. And then keep in mind, the cost is only going up. Cost of construction keeps increasing. So the quicker we can get units and get people in there in the units, the better. I feel like this tried to strike a balance of acquiring units, which this commission previously approved, and put it in the plan as follow-up from that commission action, as well as incorporating some of the recommendations by like Commissioner Wu and others. So how we can be more creative to help families, especially those who are in what I call the gap. I know Commissioner was focusing on the 80% and below. Again, most families who are 80% and below are gonna use NAHASDA. There isn't a better financing tool out there. And we can subsidize too. They don't have to, they only pay on a portion if that's all they can afford. It's the 80 to 100% AMI who may need the buy down or the help with the down payment assistance. So again, we're trying to strike a balance with this plan. We're trying to tell HUD these are all the different activities that we want to do. And we want to show them where we can spend those funds, because the idea is that for more funding. We don't want the 22.3 million to be where we're at now. We want to keep increasing, and incumbent on doing that is spending the money that we currently have. So I hope that answers it. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I would add, when we talk about the 200,000 acres that we presently have, and the reality is a lot of that acreage are in very isolated areas, very difficult to develop, very costly to develop. Timing with the use of these funds. I mean, the only reason why we're starting to get more funds is because we're spending it at a significant, leveraging the NAHASA, not only for site acquisitions, but tax credits, which in turn takes people off the wait list, and we'll do it in a more expeditious way with the change in the law. But I think, if you look at the strategic plan where we've actually used NAHASA, as well as the 600 million, the biggest ticket items are the site acquisition in lands that we vetted. We've exampled the Lehui, we're acquiring roughly 300 acres. I mean, that's going to result in 1,200 new homesteads. Now, is it costly? Yeah, it's costing us 22 million getting rid of the wait list. And and we're doing it in a way where we're expending large funds. In my dealings with this Congress, as Senator wants us to spend the funds. So granted, we can do, and we are doing some subsidies of the buy downs and interest, as well as subsidies and going after other funding, key one. And my whole objective in doing site acquisitions, as we're doing under the strategic plan, is better lands, flip our inventory. So granted, we may be looking at the future development that's not going to happen overnight, but at the same time, it's an opportunity to not only less costly, to improve, thereby saving on infrastructure costs in areas that are going to be very, very attractive, because that's where the jobs are, that's where the infrastructure is. It's going to get the costs down. And we can also do it in large numbers. We're working with some developers using NAHASA money to be a part of a bigger development in areas that are very, very attractive. So I think the flexibility that we're looking, this is one way to use the money. It's not something in concrete. We can make adjustments. We can make changes on an annual basis. But I think this is an initial budget that I think strikes a balance between the use of the funds. So I'd be very, very supportive of what Lehu is doing, and I think it will reflect and speak highly of the department in the use of funds in a timely fashion. Timing is very key on these funds, gang. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may ask a question of Lehu?
Sure.
So in the AHP, the allocation of 25 mil for land acquisition is identified. So based on your comments, Mr. Chair, is there been a property that's already been identified for the acquisition? That's number one. And then number two is that because NAHASA is income restricted, history tells us that sinking Mahazda into the ground requires that income restriction to be in place. Is that still correct?
Yes,
So if you're gonna use $25 million of Mahazda funds to purchase land or do land acquisition, that means that that land or any work that the department does in the development is now restricted to the 80% AMI. The consideration for using it for individual benefit is more in line because you can continue to serve those that are outside of that income limitation versus, for example, that 200-acre parcel you want to buy on Kauai, that's a Grove Farms property, yeah?
Yeah, it's Ghost
Yeah.
Farm.
So if you're
We're
looking
paying
at
about
1,200
70,000 per acre.
Right.
And so, you know.
I mean,
per
and I'm not
acre,
saying it's a bad deal. I think it's a great deal.
Right.
The concern is that if you're going to use Mahazda in the purchase, in the acquisition, then those 1,200 units that you're proposing for that property will be restricted to those with 80% of the AMI and below.
Yeah, but it's just a percentage of the total cost. So it's not 100% restricted to 80% AMI. And as you know, what we're trying to do is create different categories where we
Right.
address the 80% AMI, the 60% AMI, the turnkey, the habitat, the owner builder. So there's a variety of approaches we're using. But the key is getting lands that we can develop at a far more effective and a more affordable approach than trying to deal with the existing 200,000 acres that we have that, you know, it's been a real challenge. It's eating up all our funds. And so when we went out on the 3 RFPs to identify lands, as well as developers that wanted to develop lands for us, we got a tremendous amount of response. I think that's why we amended our strategic plan in a good way. So we're excited about moving forward. Hopefully we'll get our federal funding. We're looking at 6,000 people that we will service across the board, not just the 80% AMI. So it's an exciting time for us, but again, we need to expend the funds. That's the real key, and we anticipate we'll get a lot more. We can show our congressional delegation that we can use the funds. That's where key to it is our strategic plan, which includes acquisition of new lands. We want to continue on that vein.
so to answer your question directly, if that was your question, is the commission action that was already approved, which is the 25 million for the 82 units.
Okay.
That's what that element's for.
Yeah, because I saw on in your program plan, it says Oahu is a priority.
It
in that land
is.
acquisition.
It
It is a
is.
priority.
But the courtyards at Waipoli is on Kauai.
Yes.
So that 25 mil acquisition in the plan currently is for the courtyards at Waipoli. Is that correct?
No, that's,
Because again, that's the action the commission took and
Correct.
approved, and so I'm following through with the plan.
Okay, so I'm confused now. So in the plan, the commission decided to purchase courtyards at Waipoli using the HASA funds. That's number one. And then, but in your plan, that $25 million acquisition is identified as being used on Oahu. So what is it?
It is for Waipoli. What I did explain, and I'll look at it again, and I apologize, I got this HUD form kind of late, so I was trying to make sure. Our focus is on Oahu. I'm gonna tell you, because we do have, our island plan does say that we have the most amount of land, but as I'm reading it now, I'm pretty sure I fixed it, and I don't see that there's any reference on here to Oahu. If you were talking in the very front where I explained housing need, housing need, I just did identify that for Oahu, our Oahu Island plan does identify that that's where the greatest demand is and the least amount of land, but it didn't mean to exclude that we wouldn't consider land in other areas. I think
Okay.
Chair specifically is looking at areas that are more centrally located, where more infrastructure is already in place, because so much of our land is in very rural, remote areas. So to get the infrastructure there is going to be costly. Are there better opportunities to look at areas that are more central, where everything is located?
Okay, that's Oahu.
That's the state law.
it's everywhere.
Okay. All right, so yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, we got, thank you, Blossom. We have some other witnesses that I'd like to call.
Thank you, commissioners, for the time.
Okay, the next witness, Sam Wampler.
morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'll try to keep this very short. I know we all have a lot more to talk about. Aloha and good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, the committee, and the attendees. My name is Samuel Wampler, and I'm a resident at the Waipouli at Courtyards. At the Courtyards at Waipouli, which is an apartment complex in Kapa'a, Hawaii. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Courtyard residents that could not be here today. I come here today as an opposition for the Nahasda Annual Housing Plan. I heard through an outside source that you have plans to buy the complex in which I reside in. It is my right to have the knowledge and be informed of any plans that would result in my eviction. From what I understand, this is your responsibility under federal law is to share your relocation plan with us. I have two questions that I would like to know. First off, what is your plan for the relocation of the residents that reside within the Courtyards at Waipouli? I've heard there's about $25 million that has been set aside to put forth towards the purchase of the property. According to the Uniform Relocation Act, you are supposed to provide us with the relocation plan. Me, nor anybody else that resides at the Courtyards has seen or heard of such plan. Second, when do you plan to meet with us and talk about this plan? Mahalo for your time.
So, mahalo for that. So one of the requirements in using Nahasda funds for this acquisition is we will have to provide for relocation, and we will need a plan, and that will all be part of the implementation. Again, this was an application that was submitted to HHFDC for low-income housing tax credit funding. So we'll see what the outcome is on that, but we'll be sure to incorporate that, because again, that's a requirement for use of federal funds.
Thank you.
When we will meet is as soon as we have, I do know that there is a plan in the works, and I do know when I get better timelines, we'll do our best to communicate so that everyone affected is aware of the plan and what's the, how we will implement going forward if the HHO is awarded low-income housing tax credits to acquire.
So Lehua, I know it feels like a thankless job, but I want you to know we do appreciate your work ethic, how you carry yourself in spite of the questions we continue to ask you. But learning about this relocation plan, as we are on the cusp of approving your plan, it seems like putting the cart before the horse when we don't know yet what a relocation plan will look like, especially if it's a federal requirement. You know, my expectation is that plan would be before us as we render decisions. So that's just my mana'o. Thank you.
So I think if you folks can recall, commissioners, when the item came before you back in January, about the acquisition of Waipouli, one of the costs that was budgeted for there was relocation, and that is going to be one of the requirements. So it is part of the ongoing process, and we do have an entity that is currently preparing all of that information going forward.
Okay, thank you. Next witness, Cora Snackenberg.
Aloha, Chair and
Hello.
Commissioners. I'm so happy to have this opportunity. I'm totally opposing for several reasons, and I actually want to speak on the funds that you folks allocate during your budget years. That Molokai always somehow get lost in the shuffle. And I want to thank our Commissioner Health for fighting on this last budget that was proposed. We have two that was awarded in the accelerated program back in 1980 and 1990s. In your folks' report back later on, you guys are going to be talking about update projects. You'll be talking about the new ones and the old ones. I'm talking about the ones that were giving pala pala and never yet been able to be part of the money talk to put them on their land. So I'm so sorry, I went ahead, I just got so much, and I'll get 3 minutes. So my name is Cora Schnackenberg, and I have 2 hats. I'm a former president for Ahanui Homestead Association, the Uwalapue Project, and I'm also the director that represent the waitlisters on Molokai with the Association Hawaiian Homestead Lands. So my role is to put our people on their land. So I want to share with you that you guys had mentioned the 66 lots down at Kalamaula and also at Kalani'olaole areas for another awardees. So when are we supposed to get cut in this pie that's been allocated monies? Molokai is always left out. We got land. We don't need paid for land. Give Molokai families their share of their money so they can get on their land commissioners. I talked to the commissioners because you're supposed to be getting our back as beneficiaries. Chair plays a role, but sometimes he goes against the recommendation of the commissioners. So I'm here in advocating for the waitlisters, especially those that haven't gotten they only got pala pala of award. What they gonna do without money and putting them on their land? I'm so happy that you folks have blessed Naiva with the money that they can now work towards. But we get so much in 1988 and 1990 that never gone on their land yet. 1980, excuse me. So that is my question, that in the future, Lehua, I'm asking that you consider Molokai Homestead first beneficiaries that has been awarded and those that are on the wait list. Mahalo.
So to answer specifically Molokai, in AHP3 homeowner financing, there are some vacant lot families that we are helping mainly in Kalamaula Mauka. For the home assistance programs, the Ho'olehua and Kalamaula, the oldest homesteads on this island, can have access for home repair. Rental vouchers for temporary relocation. If that family needs to demolish and build or their home repair is extensive, Nahasda can provide assistance for rental while the home is being repaired or rebuilt. The Kupuna Rental Subsidy Program is statewide, including Molokai. Housing counseling is available for anyone who utilizes Nahasda assistance. Homeowner assistance if families are behind in their mortgage or utilities. We can also provide assistance there and available for Molokai residents. The potable water infrastructure is the Ho'olehua water system. So those are all the activities that are assisting Molokai families along with other families. And then most of the program activities, so AHP1 CIP is usually for projects that are developing homestead lots. So those are primarily for applicants on the wait list. Developer financing is primarily for applicants on the wait list. Homeowner financing, again, is mainly for applicants on the wait list. Home assistance program, that is for lessees who, again, need home repair. Waimanalo Kupuna are kupuna who live at the Waimanalo Kupuna facility that we're subsidizing their rents. They're on the wait list. Vouchers for temporary relocation are for lessees when the home is being built. Emergency rental and utilities assistance, these are for applicants and lessees impacted by the Maui wildfires. The Kupuna rental subsidy is for applicants and undivided interest lessees statewide. Rental vouchers, again, is for applicants unless that change comes into effect where you receive a lease when you get a rent with option to purchase. Housing counseling is for applicants and lessees. Homeowner assistance is for lessees. Water improvement is for lessees. Housing conversion is for applicants on the wait list. Property acquisition is for applicants on the wait list, and then operation and maintenance is to maintain that facility for applicants on the wait list. So that is the intent.
Mahalo, but if I may indulge, just two concerns that I have. Those things, those items that you had expressed, those are people that already have their blessings. These are people that already are leasees to repairs, yada, yada, yada. If the people on the wait list on Molokai that are already been awarded, if the problem is they cannot build because money is the problem, then I am strongly asking that this body please allocate money for the Molokai people that is not has been awarded, but still waiting. The other thing is, Chair, you mentioned about how much we could purchase because in the long run, we would benefit, the people on the wait list would benefit. You know what? We only got a few people on Molokai that can benefit immediately. And I would strongly ask that the commissioners, when considering a budget, that some pieces of the pie be considered for Molokai. That's all I am.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next testifier, Kekoa Inamoto.
Aloha, Commissioners. First of all, I want to thank Auntie Bridget Mowat for picking me up at the airport at 11:15 this morning. The board of my nonprofit, Pa'opena Community Development Inc., met yesterday afternoon and approved me coming over to testify this morning before you. So I'm only going to be staying today. So what I'd like to do is, under agendized item C1, is to present my J agenda testimony that is scheduled for tomorrow. And essentially, what that J agenda testimony says is that I'm in favor of undivided interest lessee status to be conferred on all waitlisters. And that is for three reasons. Number one, I don't think there would be the controversy over rent to own. The 15-year rent to own period would become irrelevant, because if you have undivided interest status, your successor beneficiary, regardless of whether you pass away while you're renting during that 15-year period, your successor beneficiary would succeed to your rent-to-own entitlement. The other reasons that I'm for undivided interest lesseeship are it's a matter of justice. There are 29,000 people on the wait list, and at least 100 of them die every year. I mean, that's approximately how many are on that list in November that's issued, and asking for the successor beneficiaries to step forward. That means that 100 families are losing their entitlements, and the entitlements are for 199 years. That means that 29,000 people on the wait list are in jeopardy of losing their families, losing that 199-year federal trust entitlement, which means, 99 years equals 6.6 generations. 199 years is 13 generations of a family losing its entitlement to a quarter of an acre, 1 acre, 40 acres, whatever. This is a 100-year-old federal trust, and our Kalama'ula lessees have been on there since the 1920s, and their families are still there. But think of all the people among those 29,000 who are going to lose those entitlements for their ohana. Is that my 3-minute signal?
You can wrap it up, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
No, you can wrap it up.
Okay, thank you so much. I have been a beneficiary for 38 years, and I've seen many DHHL directors, and I feel that Cully Watson is trying his best to get our people onto the land. And it's currently in the guise of Waipouli and rent to own. And I am not against it, although many of my fellow Homelands leaders and beneficiaries, waitlisters, are against those rent to own proposals. All I'd like to see is undivided interest lessee status conferred upon all of our waitlisters, archipelago-wide, to ensure that during that 15-year rent-to-own period, they would not, if they die on that, while they're in the rent-to-own program, that their successor beneficiaries would succeed to that entitlement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna, we got a bunch of more people who want to testify, so we're gonna take a lunch break and then come back and start up again on C1. Okay, so we will reconvene at 1 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Everybody, we're gonna have to make a motion to go into executive session to talk about some of the things you guys raised regarding. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion. Just declaration or motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the commission will convene in an executive session pursuant to section 92-584 HRS to consult with its attorney on questions and issues pertaining to the commission's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities. So,
Yeah, we're recording. So now we're gonna recess.
You gotta take a vote, right?
Yeah.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, we're back in session. We're still on agenda item C1. So the next testifier, Kikoa Inamoto.
Oh, Gracie Jones.
Oh, Gracie Gomes, excuse me, Gracie Gomes.
Hello, my kako. I would like to yield my time to Misty Griffin on the
Gracie
C1,
Gomes.
please.
Oh, I see that she's talking. She's talking. Okay.
Hello, my kako. Chair, Commissioners, Leah.
Hi.
I would like to yield my time to Misty Griffin on the C1 agenda, please.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Oh,
Gracie is yielding to you.
okay. Missy. She said, wait, who? Okay.
Okay, Missy Griffin.
Misty Griffith. Oh, there. Okay. There she is.
Okay.
Aloha Kako, can I share some screen slides for you? Just it's only 3 or 4 slides.
Okay.
Am I able to share screen?
Okay, go for it.
Thank you. Can you see the screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just want to share my mana'o. First of all, I am a successor at Waihuko 2 on Maui, and my expertise is actually I'm a mortgage lender for over 38 years now. And I wanted just to share my mana'o with regards to I'm in opposition of the 25 million for property acquisition. I just want to kind of give you folks an idea of what we're as lenders. I've been doing a lot of pre-qualifications for pu'uhona here on Maui, some in Anahola and in Paneava. And I just wanted to share, income needed, as you can see here, for just a $500,000 loan today, actual interest rates, these are live rates that I'm talking about, is 6.75%. Your payments are going to be about $32.42, insurance and taxes, about $34.12. I bring this to light because I'm not sure if you realize what some of our people are up against. Income needed, if they're going to do the HUD 184A, income needed on gross income is $11,000. Most of everyone is doing the FHA 247 loan program, which you're going to need about $8,000. A USDA, you can do 100% financing, but it's income restricted. And your debt to income ratio, you cannot use more than 29% of your gross income on the front end, meaning that you can only borrow up, you need income of $11,000. So here's a good example of a $500,000 loan at 6.75% interest rate. Your payment is $32. Over the term of the loan, you'll pay about $667,000 of interest. If we can do a buy down to 5 7/8, same loan amount, it drops it dramatically to $29.57 per month. Interest paid over the term of the loan, $564. So it's huge savings. So I'll break this out for you. Let's say, for example, DHHL utilizes maybe some of that money, maybe give it to the developer to reduce the cost of the build of the home, because we know how expensive it is right now. Let's say the home is $500,000. We utilize $30,000 to reduce the cost of the house, bringing in at $470,000. Let's just use that as the loan amount. Your mortgage payment would reduce quite a bit to $3,048 versus the $500,000 loan. Of course, payment is $32.42. This is principal and interest only. That's a savings of $194 a month. Over 30 years, it's $70,000. Now, let's go back to the income qualifying with buying down the interest rate. Income needed to qualify, again, $8,000 at $500,000. Income needed to qualify, and I'm going to echo some comments that she made. It is less if you need income. It's only $7,000 if you got it at 5 7/8 interest rate. However, the savings is far greater. At the $500,000, it's $285 a month savings at $102,000 over the course of the term of the loan. I would just put this out there and share some of my mana'o. Let's say if we took that $30,000, what I'm faced with a lot of our kapunas that come in to get pre-qualified, they don't have the down payment. I mean, with bread costing $8 a loaf here on Maui, people just don't have the money for down payment. let's utilize maybe 18,000 of that down payment, 12,000 to go towards principal buy down. You can get it down to 5 7/8. And I'm just showing you this example for Puahona because that's the next one coming up. We could literally give 30,000 to 161 beneficiaries. That's 4,800,000. To me, the money would be better utilized at getting people off the list right away versus maybe doing the acquisition for the future. We have a lot of projects that are coming up. And yes, I'm not in opposition of future acquisition of properties, but for right now, I'm going to echo Blossom's comments with regards to let's get the ones that's here and now off the list. That was what I would like to share as my expertise in this industry. People don't have the down payment and they're having a difficult time in qualifying. And I'll give you an example. The kapuna comes in, she's 75 years, she's on Social Security, cannot qualify. I'm now asking her, can you go get your granddaughter, grandson, 4 people to help her co-sign just to buy the home that they can't qualify. It's difficult. It's difficult out here. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next testifier, Evalani McBrayer.
Aloha, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I don't know, you can't get my video up. I guess it's not going on, but mahalo, commissioners. My name is Evalani Lebon McBrayer. I am the president of Kaupea Homestead as well as the Shaw Oahu Mokupuni. I am here today. First of all, I'd like to thank Lehua Kinilau, who presented to us beneficiaries on the Maui, Lanai, and Oahu Mokupuni last Thursday on the NHHBG housing plan that she shared. And I'm testifying in regards to C1 of the 2024 Native Hawaiian Housing Block Grant. And in regards to it, I'm in opposition of these items, specifically the developer financing of 8.5 million, as well as the property acquisitions of 25 million. And my opposition for is that I think that we can find better ways to directly have benefits, these funding going straight to beneficiaries. And when we had that meeting with Lehua, we were able to have some beneficiaries that could really benefit from more direct money coming to the beneficiaries instead of for the developer financing and the land acquisition. For instance, we had one of the pastors come about a 92-year-old kapuna in Nanakuli Homestead that their house is dilapidated, no insurance. I feel money can go to there. We also had another Cleaver family that is having a successorship that could possibly, as Lehua said, be part of the home assistance program. And I think these things was these families was never asked about being able to be part of using the HAZA funds in their situation. Also, the Neighborhood Security Watch, I think monies for a Neighborhood Security Watch on the Native Hawaiian Block Grant, that was some of the activities. And I just want to say to you, commissioners, the crime out here in Oahu, as you can see, the violent crimes, I think money appropriate in that way could be something that could benefit the families, because we do have 400 shortage of police officers. As you can see, the crimes coming on the west side of violent crimes within the homestead areas is quite a big concern. I know a few years ago, we asked Leo Kinilau for assistance on the Neighborhood Security Watch to get some funding for Drug Coalition back in 2016. That was never given to that. And I think, you know, not only building homes is important, but also securing the homes from activities of criminal activities is a big concern. So I think, you know, my opposition for this C1 is because we need to get more of a grip of how we can utilize those funds of appropriating actually the $33.5 million of those funds of NAHAZA funds than what was proposed earlier. I think it needs to be looked more clearly and have more input from the beneficiaries itself. And so my testimony today is that I'm in opposition because I like to see more direct access to the beneficiaries. So thank you for this time. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you very much. Next testifier, Jermaine Myers.
Aloha, Commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Aloha, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jermaine Myers. I'm a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. As I stated last month, Lehua's presentation shows that the total budget is $50 million, yet $44 million are being allocated for rental projects. $44 million. Rentals keep waitlisters on the wait list. According to the low-income housing tax credit presentation, beneficiaries will have to commit to renting for 15 years before they can have the option to purchase. If a beneficiary doesn't pay their rent, the management company will serve them a 45-day eviction notice. They won't be coming to the Hawaiian Homes Commission for a contested case hearing, as beneficiaries do when they're delinquent on a home mortgage. Commissioners, there are several discrepancies in the annual housing plan that I didn't hear Lehua address in her oral presentation today. Goal number 1, $250,000 for 2024 capital improvement projects. The planned number of outputs to be completed in fiscal year under this program, 0 improved lots. Goal number 2, $8.5 million developer financing. Planned outputs to be completed, 0 units. Goal number 9, $250,000 for existing potable water infrastructure improvements. Planned outputs to be completed, 0 improved lots. These 3 goals total $9 million. Why 0 output? Goal number 3, $2 million home buyer financing for new construction or home purchase. Family counts are provided by Island for a total of 34 families statewide. Yet the planned output to be completed in fiscal year under the program is 5 homes. What happened to the other 29 families? Goal number 10, $7 million housing conversion for Kalailoa Transitional Shelter and Ulukekukui multifamily residential housing facility in Maili on Oahu. Plan outputs to be completed, 18 units. Past presentations and minutes showed to the commissioners showed more than 18 units were planned for these 2 facilities. All the goals for rental projects got output numbers. Speaking about NAHASDA policies, a policy states that the beneficiary requests for NHHBG grant programs are handled first come, first served. However, I cannot find any comprehensive marketing plan that reviews how all beneficiaries are informed about NHHBG grant programs. I expressed concerns about past chairmen William Ila, Ikaika Anderson, and current chair Cully Watson for the following reasons. In 2018, DHHL Deputy Director William Ila ran for OHA at large. According to campaign spending reports, HCDB Patty Tankayo hosted a fundraiser for William Ila's OHA campaign at then HCDB President Cully Watson's $6 million Waikiki condo. This is the same Waikiki condo that some commissioners attended a dinner hosted by Chair Cully in January 2024 with his partners. In 2022, then HCDB President Cully Watson hosted a fundraiser for Lieutenant Governor candidate Ikaika Anderson, also at his $6 million Waikiki condo as well.
Okay, Jermaine, thank you.
Another concern I have is regarding the rail.
Thank you.
We need transparency, Chair Cully. We need transparency.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
The next testifier, Dixon Stone. Okay, great.
Try again. Try again.
Just the outputs, I just wanted you to be aware that HUD doesn't count the output until the unit is entirely completed and a family is in the unit. That's part of the reason for the count. So I just wanted to explain that. So mahalo.
Okay. Dixon Stone.
I'll check with Claudine Allen.
Dixon Stone. Go ahead, come up. Yeah.
Yeah, come, Vicky.
Please. Thank you.
I'm going to yield my time to Jermaine.
Huh?
I'm going to yield my time to Jermaine.
You want to do that? That's fine.
Mahalo. Claudine Allen had answered these questions in the workshop that she's provided. Another concern I have is regarding a real developer non-Inc. DHHL disclosed that non-Inc. donated their lands to DHHL. Is there a payback they'll expect from DHHL for their donated lands? These are the types of transparency, as well as commissioners need to have training from Claudine Allen, not from Lehua, regarding the Nahasa program and these reports that they are being given in the packet, but no workshop, no training. Kia kua pu, God bless all of you.
Thank you. Next, Kalani Tassel. Kalani Tassel. Donna.
Kalamai. Hello, Mike Kako, Kalani Tasso, President Paukukala Hawaiian Homestead Community Association. Just wanted to address some concerns on the in regards to the C1. I believe the NASDA funds can be put to better use to get our people, to give our people their birthright as to lease their homestead for 99 years. Does DHHL have an inventory of all the homes currently on Hawaiian homestead that lay dormant? If available to renovate, was those on the waiting list offered to remodel the homes to get families off the list? Some of those funds can be loaned out at small interest rates to remodel and rebuild the home. We currently, in Paukukala Homestead, we currently have 2 in our community, the Kanoa Ohana, which theirs is about finished. And I think they were the second wave in Paukukala Homestead. And that's on Kuhio Street, yeah? And the second one is Clarence Kamai Senior's home on Kawananakoa Street. That one looks like it's soon to be completed. That's right across the park. There must be a huge number in the inventory on homes that can be restored and place awardees in them. I'm worried with the rent with option to buy at the end. My question is, why doesn't all that rent money go to the purchase? Why can't the successor continue? Why can't they have a successor to continue unless if unfortunately they pass away? Because the people that are on the list, on the top of the list, which you start from with these rentals, has been on the list probably 15, 20 years. So with that being said, why doesn't the money, and also why doesn't all the money go to the purchase? Why can't they have a successor? Sorry, I'm repeating myself. I lost my track here. Yeah, and question, will they qualify 15 years later at current market prices? Will they qualify to buy the home 15 years later, where most will be retired by then? Thus, qualifications goes lower of their chances with the option to buy at the end of the 15-year commitment in the renting of the unit. If they don't make it to the end of the 15-year program, does it go back to DHHL? Who gets the unit back to repeat the process? I know back in the days they used to have owner builders, and they used to have blocks where the whole family on that block builds all the houses, and then once it's all completed, they would all move in at the same time. Why not entertain that back, bring that back to the table? There's so much land that we have in inventory currently that we can make these programs work. I believe my father, Uncle Joe Tasso, was also a commissioner, and he was in the Waimanalo Kupuna housing program, which I believe went back to the HHL. I think that was just a rental for Kupunas to pretty much get them off the list. I just believe that there are many more ways to put our people on the land and award them their 99-year birthright lease that they can pass to their next generation. So I strongly oppose the C1 in the use of the NASDA funds to be used for rentals. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next testifier, Janice Herrick.
Aloha mai kako. I am a let's see with the in Pakokalo Hawaiian Homes. Oops, sorry, my video. Let me try my video. I would like to yield my time to Kainoale McDonald.
Okay, sure.
Mahalo.
Kainoa McDonald.
Aloha mai kako. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Thank you. Aloha, my name is Kainoa McDonald. Kalamai, I'm in the middle of driving. Kainoa McDonald. I am on the executive board of the Homestead Beneficiary Association, HBA, the Association of Hawaiians for Homestead Lands. I also serve on the statewide council of Shaw, Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Homestead Association, representing the Maui Lanai Mokupuni region of Shaw. This testimony is specific to agenda item C1, acceptance to the 2024 Native Hawaiian Housing Block Grant NHH Annual Housing Plan. Mahalo to State DHHL official Lehua Kinilau Kano. I really appreciate your presentation to our Hawaiian Homes Commission beneficiaries last week at our Shaw Maui Lanai Mokupuni regional convening. It was very important, very intentional regarding the content of C1. Lehua took the time to answer questions and concerns, especially on rentals and rent with option to own, as well as updates to staffing and capacity on advancing this housing plan that benefit both lessees as well as beneficiaries on the wait list. Please accept my testimony in opposition of the following components of the NAHASDA plan. Number one, issuing our NAHASDA funds in the amount of 8.5 million in direct assistance to developer financing for 60 units of rental housing with an option to purchase, 30 units in La'iopua and 30 units in Hanapepe. In echoing what Uncle Glenn Tevis had shared, the model is just not working. Number two, issuing NAHASDA funds in the amount of 25 million to acquire land or existing structures to provide rental units. Simply, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act that is over a century old, It's been adopted into the state of Hawaii Constitution as a condition of statehood, has one primary purpose: to issue homestead lots to us on the wait list for a home, a ranch, or farm, as well as for mercantile business purposes. I stand in the shadow of past leaders, echoing Auntie Blossom, Auntie Kekoa, our previous Shaw Chair, Robin Danner, for both the All and Shaw. It is a travesty on who these people advocated for decades to restore NAHASDA levels of funding $20 million annually from the $2 million levels caused by the last governor and the state DHHL director for improper management of NAHASDA. Just by not spending the funds down to see this administration direct our hard-fought resources to rental. Ole. The promise is a homestead lot issued to us, not using our resources to subsidize certain developers or to purchase or build any rental housing. The very essence of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act was to move our people onto the land, as Commissioner Alwell indicated, away from the tenement housing from the early 1900s. As we all know, this body, our Hawaiian Homes Commission beneficiary leaders et al., led a petition. That petition was against the use of NAHASDA funds to purchase 82 units of rental housing on Kauai. Over 300 stood in opposition, and we continue to stand in opposition. We call on this commission to stand on the promise of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, which is to deliver homestead lot awards to us on the wait list. 29,664 of us are counting on this commission. We advise this commission to recognize its obligation under the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. Rental housing is not an obligation. We advise this commission instead use a total of 33.5 million, 8.5 million plus 25 to direct grants of $1,000 each to the wait list to purchase or build our homes. This will result in 385 homes owned by HHCA beneficiaries, 2.7 times more in housing units than the NAHASDA proposal of the rental housing plan today, all of which will be owned by beneficiaries, building equity for our families from day one, and in doing so, fulfilling the purposes of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. Mahalo for this opportunity as a beneficiary waitlist leader to provide my mana'o every dollar available under NAHASDA should subsidize waitlist beneficiaries to receive a lot for a home. Not $1 should be allocated to place us in tenement housing. The Hawaiian Homes Commission Act was championed by my prince, Kuhio, to the end. Mahalo nui for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Let's see, now we'll open up to the commissioners. Any comments or questions about C1? Commissioner Owell?
Thank you, Chair. I feel compelled to say something in support of the testimony that continues to come forward. On January 16th, the Commission voted down using NAHASDA funds for the purchase of Waipouli. On January 26th, a second emergency meeting was convened, and it was passed by one vote. It failed by one vote on the 16th. It passed by one vote on the 26th. And I want to say, Lehu, I do appreciate all the work you put into these submittals, but I continue to believe Waipouli moves the needle in the wrong direction. It goes against the 2020 survey, the survey that the Hawaii State Legislature mandated that we use for Act 279 funds. So this is NAHASDA, but it is the standard by which we should be formulating how we serve our beneficiaries. And this certainly goes in a different direction. For townhouse, duplex, or fourplex, only 0.6% of our beneficiaries wanted that as a first choice. Condo units with option to purchase, only 0.8% want that deal. Even affordable rentals, as they retain their place in line, only 2.1% want that. So this is what concerns me, is that when we talk about rentals that delay leases, we delay providing beneficiaries the opportunity to return to Aina. And that was one of the things Kuhio said before the Congress, return my people to the soil. And this is our mandate. And therefore, I continue to support what our beneficiaries are saying here today, as they did on January 26th, as they did on January 16th. So that's my mana'o. Thank you.
Sure. Commissioner Helm?
Lehua, once again, thank you for all your hard work. Probably people don't realize the work you put in for this presentation, but I really appreciate it. But I must say there's so many unfinished business. Like, for example, from Molokai, we have Mahiva, we have the ag lots here on Kalamula, that lots were awarded back in 1985, and it's still not developed. We also have the scattered, polio scattered lots that will be also awarded one of these days. But for me, we need to prioritize that first, because these people have been waiting over 30 plus years to even get on that property. But with NAHASDA, that should be the focus, to somehow get these people prepared for loans that they can qualify with. And a lot of these people that are waiting, they're probably 70 years old and older, so they may not qualify for a regular mortgage. So, to me, rentals does not belong on Hawaiian homelands. That's my own opinion. I'm not against rentals. We have 2 rental programs on Molokai. The county has one and the state has one up on Mauna Loa, and the county has one in Kaunakakai. But for me, I think our focus should be taking those people that's on the waiting list, 29,600 people on the waiting list. That should be a priority as far as I'm concerned. And speaking on my own opinion as a commissioner. Thank you.
Commissioner Levitt?
Yes, so, yes, my sentiments are the same, our island, I'm from the island Kauai. We had strong opposition to rental. We had over 300 people testified against it. And this is the first time that I'm aware of on the commission where we didn't look to the island commissioner as to what his kuleana was. And this is the first time that Kauai, who's never been defeated, is defeated by Big Island and Oahu commissioner. That's Aole. Have rentals don't get us on our Aina. When I went to the Prince Kuhio Festival, I when it did my hukai for my gift to the prince. I can't do that from the second floor of a condominium. I can't do it from somewhere where we have no space for our people to live. I went outside, I picked it from my Aina. Totally opposed to this, all these rentals.